A young woman trots into the bedroom. She lets her hands run full of water, and then she wets her face. As it runs down, she runs her hands wearily along her face. She sighs, and then she looks in the mirror.
Not again.
A young man sits on his bed. He tries hard to stretch, but doesn't get far. Dazed, he looks at the clock. It's the middle of the night. He gets up and walks out of his room. The house on the second floor has his sister's room, his parents' room, and a bathroom. There is giggling coming from his sister's room. He walks past it, down the stairs. In the kitchen, he goes to the refrigerator.
Philip, are you awake again? I thought we wouldn't see you until noon tomorrow.
I woke up and I was hungry.
No wonder if you are still skipping so many meals after all this time. Your mother still thinks you should start having a regular routine.
That would certainly make more sense than having such a twisted sleep schedule.
The father smiles happily. Bom-sook opens the refrigerator door. Father appears behind him and digs something out for him.
Take some of it. Otherwise, you will get another earful from your mother later if you eat some of her supplies.
Father puts the potato gratin on the table for him and gets silverware from the silverware box. Bom-sook watches him as the father blindly knows the location of each object in the kitchen. He hands the cutlery to his son.
I have to go out in a couple of hours already, so good night, son.
Thanks for the food.
The father looks at his son in confusion. Then he strokes him on the head and leaves. Bom-sook looks at the food and pokes it before tasting it.
I don't understand Philip's taste.
He then quickly spoons everything into himself. Philip as Bom-sook sit on the floor of the dance studio with her band members from Moksori and stretches. She imitates what the others are doing. With each new stretching exercise, she looks puzzled and unsure for if her body can do it. But then she does it and seems to be more flexible than any of the others.
Java, Rim, Danby, bom-sook, and Minju. We will start with a repeat of the choreo today.
Geht klar, Sayang.
Everyone gets into position. Philip goes to Bom-sook's seat without thinking. Then the music starts, and her body reacts all by itself. During the choreography, Philip can't help but think.
How is it possible that I know this choreo? Wait, not me, but this body. He does what he wants.
It stumps. Then it quickly catches itself again and continues.
At least as long as I'm not thinking.
Philip in Bom-sook devotes himself fully to the dance again and follows her movement avidly. He enjoys more and more how she moves, the dancing, and what this body can do. At the end of the song, everyone goes down exhausted. Philip too. But Bom-sook's body stretches out her arms and puts her head in her neck. Philip laughs. It is a wonderful feeling. Bom-sook walks as Philip through the still deserted streets. The morning has not completely dawned. It may already be light, but lights are going on in houses, and school sandwiches are being made by parents, while children annoyedly turn off their alarms and frantically still pack their school bags. Bom-sook stands on the empty street, occasionally gazing into the windows that look homely. He continues walking and comes to a stop in front of a house that looks totally barred to him. Then a young woman comes out of the house, her bag on her back and breakfast in her teeth. She catches sight of him and hurries to the fence and the boundary of the property.
Little brother, what are you doing here?
She stops next to him and looks from the side at her brother, who's looking at her, but doesn't seem to have quite noticed her yet.
Philip?
Why would I still be asleep?
At least that wouldn't be out of the ordinary. But that you're here wandering around surprises me just a little.
Emily looks across his face for an answer to a question bom-sook doesn't understand.
And why do you seem surprised anyway?
Emily studies their face.
Because we run into each other.
Bom-sook looks at her, puzzled. His eyes widen. What?
I mean, you avoid everything and everyone, especially me.
That's not true.
His look speaks of an or.
It's okay, I get it. After the last time you said that my love for Moxori is a ridiculous passion, I don't feel like discussing with you what it means to have something you love. Just make sure you focus on yourself.
Now bom-sook seems completely taken aback. Emily seems to feel the need to turn the mood around and forcibly slides a statement after it.
I mean, when you're ready, you know we're all here waiting for you. If you need any of us, we'll be there.
With these words, she opened the garden gate, steps over the threshold of the property, and waves to him.
I'm off to the university. See you soon.
Bom-sook watches her walk away.
Did she just say Muxori? Is she Nore?
Excitement melts his usually hard features. Junja makes various pauses in the front of her handycam. She pulls some duck's notes in the process. Minyu fiddling with Seong, who's trying to talk to Rim. Danbi, who's gently stroking Rim's forearm and leaning her head against her friend, smiles at Seong, who is visibly annoying with Minyu. Jet says nothing. And Philip sits like a stone to the opposite side.
This is supposed to be Moxori, a professional idol group? For the life of me, I don't understand what Emily sees in them.
He shakes his head wearily. A moment later, all the band members rush up to her and hug, as well as tickle her. He can't help but laugh. Bom-sook and Philip is standing behind the kitchen. He's cooking. As he tastes the food, he shudders.
Don't tell me the body doesn't like Korean food.
He puts the spoon aside again and goes through the cabinets. He runs his finger over the spices, paying attention on the feeling of the body in his fingers. Then he stabs at the spice. He blindly picks it off the shelf and dumps it into the pot. Then he tastes again and grimaces. Immediately after, he dumps the pot in the sink and hurries to the fridge to get water out. When he pauses, goes to the cupboard with the glasses instead, and grabs one, which he fills up with the tap water and immediately downs.
That they drink tap water all the time? That can't be healthy.
Tap water is usually healthier than what you buy in the supermarket. Isn't that what you've always been nagging us about?
Philip's mother comes around the corner with the groceries. Bom-sook looks at her in amazement. Then he puts down his glass and wants to help her. She looks at him annoyed.
It's about time you start helping again. You better go out to your father. He's still at the car trying to carry out the rest of the shopping.
Bom-sook looks at her with her head down and flees to the front door. Philip's father comes to the door already fully loaded. Bom-sook goes to meet him and tries to take something from him. Then they both go back into the kitchen together. The mother looks ruefully into the sink. Then she dumps the stuff out of the pot. Philip's father looks at Bom-sook and he waits for her to tell him off. But she says nothing. Then the men move again and put away the groceries. The mother washes the pot and puts it nearly to the stove. Then she walks out of the room with a hint of a smile. Bom-sook looks up curiously at Philip's father for his assessment, but he just shrugs his shoulders. Next to the pot, the ingredients remain, ready for a second try. Philip in bom-sook is in an empty playground. She wears a mask like she has to do as an idol when she wants to remain unrecognized. But otherwise she seems to completely indifferent to his identity. He jumps over the scaffolding, runs a few meters, and gives the body the opportunity to show everything it can. Philip laughs and feels omnipotent. He does a few more laps around the playground as it starts to get darker and darker. Satisfied, he settles down on a scaffold and breathes a little strained, but happy and content. He stays like that until someone leans over him. The driver looks at him Annoyed, he throws a jacket on her face. Confused and slightly startled, Philip rises and looks at him.
Well, bom-sook, you dare to lounge around here in public?
He looks around annoyed, his arms crossed in front of him. His gaze goes over the playground, where no one is.
Why does your manager have to be on her first big family vacation in years so they'd get the idea to tell me to check on you? Am I your babysitter or what?
Annoyed, he helps Philip up, who still hasn't moved, and shows her the way out of the park.
I parked back there.
Philip looked truthfully at him. He had no idea who he was, but he felt that bom-sook trusted him. That's why he follows his instructions. Bom-sook sits listlessly at Philip's bed. She begins to try to wake up her body by starting stretching exercises. But with every slightest movement, the body strains against it. Tired, bom-sook leans back.
What is it with this guy? Can I even train while I'm here? I have to get better at this.
Bom-sook feels another surge of inability. She looks around tiredly in Philip's room. The cluttered desk she doesn't give a close look to because it's too much chaos. She starts sorting and lining up all the odds and ends in the room into small groups, so hopefully the owner of this body will put things back in their place. After a few things, the body is already tired and bom-sook sits on the floor exhausted.
This body.
She looks around the room again, exhausted. Her gaze touches the desk lamp from which something hangs, a talisman, but she can barely see it through the sunlight. In addition, something draws her gaze. On the windowsill sits a cuddly toy, an otter. She takes it and sits with it on the bed.
Mr. Otter, you must know what's wrong with this guy, right? His life is pure chaos. Yeah, I can sense that too.
Bom-sook looks up from the otter and around the room, puzzled. She stands up and puts the otter on his arm. She walks a few steps around the room, passing photo frames, lying upside down in front of empty shelves with layers of dust on them. Disgusted, bom-sook looks at the dust.
I guess he never cleans.
Bom-sook looks at the otter and then at the pictures. She turns them over one by one. The first photo shows the family, his mother, father, and sister and him. The picture must be several years old. The body owner smiles and pats his sister affectionately. Bom-sook moves to the next picture. Philip and a friend are in it, and in their midst it's Emily. This picture speaks much of love, but it also riddled with broken glass. Bom-sook intimately turns the picture back over. He also turns the other picture frame back over. Then he looks at the third picture. There's Philip's sister on it again. She's standing happily next to him, wearing strange clothes, full of pellets, and all the pride on her face seems to be meant for him. Bom-sook turns this picture around again. Lost in thoughts, she walks back to the bed and sits down. Mr. Otter puts her back in his place.
I know. The chaos must have thrown him out of life, and he can't just move on.
The sun wanders over the small town, bathing it in different shades, and it continues to wander. Philip wakes up from his sleep and looks around. There are his family's surroundings. The otter sitting on the windowsill, the talisman decorating the desk lamp. All through the whole desk is cluttered with folders that seems to be pulled randomly from the shelf. The clothes lying on the floor, now folded, a sign that the others was actually there. Philip struggles out of his bed and into the adjoining bedroom. He sees the fresh sweater he's now wearing. Tired, he looks into the laundry basket. The other one has thrown in the dirty laundry. Philip discovered all the little changes bom-sook must have made in the last few hours. Then Philip goes back into the hallway. The door to his sister's room is open. Music is playing. He looked through the crack in the door. She is startled when she noticed him.
Oh, Philip, it's just you. What's up?
Can't you close the door?
The weekend has begun. Dad and Mom aren't here, and you... I'll have to be considerate of that at least.
Philip leans into the door frame after pushing the door wider.
Emily, you don't have any consideration for me?
She shrugs and looks at her screen. When she makes no move to move away, she turns to face him.
Okay, do you want to grumble some more?
I'm not grumbling to you at all. I'm just pointing out that...
Affected, he looks at her crossly for a moment.
Of course, you're not really interested in me at all. Okay.
But then the sight disappears again, and he looks at her disappassionately.
In any case, turn down the music of these chaotic people. Preferably even turn it off. I can't hear them anymore.
Emily jumps up from her chair and looks at him angrily, ready to defend her stars.
You were the one who used to tell me to find something I love, and I did.
He continues to look at her dispassionately. Then he looks at his fingernails and the dirt under them. He begins to pick at it a little.
I meant then that you should find something you can do by yourself. But you're not supposed to chase after people who will never know you exist.
This passion I feel for them makes me grow myself by constantly exchanging ideas with the Indian Nora, as my English has improved so much.
She spreads her arms, and she takes a few steps towards the door, until she is face to face with Philip.
I overcome more and more barriers because my affection for them keeps growing. Moksuri taught me that to love is to grow.
Philip snorts in contempt. She goes to the door and pushes him out of the frame and slams the door. Bom-sook stands in the kitchen with an expressionless face. She stirs her warm milk. How much more she completes, it circles beside it. Se-young comes into the kitchen and looks at Bom-sook truthfully.
Bom-sook.
Bom-sook looks at Se-young and drops the spoon. She then takes a few steps up to her and hugs her. Se-young returns the hug.
Did you have another nightmare? When did something like that starting taking you so much?
Bom-sook pulls a pout and starts to whine.
I think it's really